Hello everyone, my name is Fabri Eloen, and this is the first episode of my new YouTube channel. And I've been thinking of doing this since quite a long, because recently I've been watching some very interesting channels like the Epic Console Gamer, Dustin Craze, Fan Trooper, and others. And I've been a fan watching the Angry Video Game Nerds years now, since it was still calling the Angry Nintendo Nerd, so quite a few years ago. And I thought it could be interesting to do a channel of my own. And since I really like the idea of sharing this great passion of mine, like uh, video games especially, but also movies, TV series, anime, and stuff like that. I thought it could be interesting to share it on YouTube. So this is the reason why I'm doing this video and trying to do this channel. And just like a warning that I have a really basic camera, and I hope the quality is not too crappy. Also because today, of course, when I'm trying to make this video, I have some problem with light. So let's hope we can do this. What can I tell you about myself? I'm Italian, but I'm living in London and been here in the UK in about 3, 4 years now. I started living in Nottingham for a year for my MA. Then I moved here in London uh, when I started to do a PhD. I always wanted to keep cultivating my passion for movies, video games especially, and TV series and stuff. And for this reason, it's always been a great passion of mine, especially gaming. I've been a gamer since ever since I can remember. Like, I started playing video games when I received my NES, my Nintendo Entertainment System, when I was 4 or something like that. So it's been way more than 20 years ago or something like that. So, because I was born in the mid 80s, grew up 19s and stuff. So I'm one of those. I'm one of the nowadays kind of old style gamer. Like, grew up in the 80s, 90s. So, and the thing that I'm proud of my video game collection is that although I don't have like thousands of games and all different consoles, well, I managed to keep my video game collection all together during the years. I never sold a single game, for example. Um, Also because it's not really our thing in Italy. I mean, at least not for me, and I never heard a friend of mine saying, "Oh, I sold all my video game collection." And for this reason, I moved through the years as a gamer, just buying something new, a new system, of course, one at a time, since I could not afford buying more than one system back then, since I didn't have the money. I had to beg my parents, so that wasn't easy. So I started, as I told you, with the NES, then bought my Super Nintendo. Then, although I always been a big Nintendo fan, I betrayed the big M, moving to the PlayStation. Simply because back then I didn't really believe in the Nintendo 64. But you know what? I don't regret doing it, because my favorite genre of games are RPG especially, and survival horror. And I also like other kinds of games, but these two are my favorite. Like, there's no comparison with others, because I also like fighting games, old style mainly 2D fighting games, first person shooters, and others. But RPGs, that we go with the lights, RPGs and survival horrors for me are the best, absolutely the best. And for this reason, I was lucky to move to PlayStation, since I believe that, especially for RPGs, the PlayStation saw what I used to call like the second golden age of RPGs, or like the real boom of RPGs. Since I always refer like the first golden age of RPGs is during the Super Nintendo, with great classic games that we all know about then, like Final Fantasy II, Witches 4, 386, Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, and Evermore, many others. The two Lufia games. There are so many great RPGs during the Super Nintendo era, and also during the PlayStation era. As I told you, it's like that was the period that everyone talking about was talking about RPGs, thanks to a game called Final Fantasy VII, I believe, and then 8 and 9 and others really interesting RPGs. So, and this is a genre that it's almost non-existent for what I know on the N64. The same for survival horror. I mean, it first, it's not like it started on the PlayStation, but what when we're thinking about survival horror, we're thinking, of course, of Resident Evil and other kind of games that started with the PlayStation. So for me, the PlayStation was the obvious choice when, after begging my parents for so many months, I asked, please, please, all my friends have new consoles, new games. I still have my Super Nintendo, although it's amazing, but I want something new. Can you buy one of me for me, please? Like this for days and days. And finally, my parents gave up and said, okay, let's go and buy a new console for you. What do you want? And the choice for me, of course, was between the N64 and the PlayStation. And after reading magazines and stuff like that, I decided to move to the PlayStation. And I kept the PlayStation for years until it was time to move on and buy a new system, of course. Video games always changing, always improving. So a new generation of gamers and games was out there, and I have to move on. So I have to abandon my PlayStation 1. And what possibly do? Well, I don't know why. I moved to the Xbox. I don't know what to say. Well, it's not that bad, but why the hell did I choose a PlayStation 2? I really don't know. All the games I love are on the PlayStation 2. The Xbox, yes. Well, the reason is simple, actually. It was because of Halo. And since I told you I like first-person shooters, it's not my favorite kind of genre, but I really like some first-person shooter games. And when I saw Halo, I was just blown away. I said, wow, I want that game, I want to play it. So for my birthday, I managed to buy an Xbox, with Halo, of course. And that was amazing. But other than that and other games, really good ones, I have to say. There are some good games on the Xbox, don't get me wrong. But I really think that the PlayStation 2 is way better, especially since I love like survival horror, RPGs. The best one are on the PS2, so I always regret actually choose the Xbox. But it was okay. I had fun playing other games like Ninja Gaiden, Knights of the Old Republic. What else? There you go. I already forgot my games on the Xbox. It's not that memorable, some of them, but still. Oh yeah, Halo 2 and others. And finally, I came back to Nintendo, the place where I belong. So, and that was thanks to the DS, and I really liked that system. Actually, it was not my first handheld console, because before I owned, my first one was actually the Game Gear, my only Sega console. Because I just have, I believe, 5 games or something, and the sad thing is actually that I lost my Game Gear. I have really no idea where it is. It's the only console that I actually lost during my entire life, and I'm so pissed off because it would have been a really nice vintage piece to my collection, only my Game Gear. And I also had a Game Boy Color, mainly to play Pokemon, but I just, yes, I believe I didn't have any other game for the Game Boy. I was so focused on the PlayStation and Xbox after that, and the Game Boy, I just forgot about that. And after the DS, of course, I have to buy the Wii. It's so amazing. I love the Wii. I really prefer it to the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, although technically speaking it's a little inferior since it's not HD graphic, but who cares? Now that I grew up in the last years, I always believe that graphics don't make a good game. So it's not all about graphics. And for what I saw, and my personal feeling is that the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, they have really great games, of course, don't get me wrong, but it seems that they're more about the graphics than the actual gameplay. I mean, playing with the Wii, it's so much fun, and the graphics still okay. It's maybe not as amazing as the PlayStation 3, for example, but still okay. I mean, it's not, I don't know, Xbox graphic or PlayStation 1 graphics, although I'm kind of attached to the PlayStation graphics. Those kind of years weird, like this passage between the 2D and the 3D. It's typical of PlayStation N64. Like it's not that appealing today as I don't know the gorgeous Super Nintendo graphic, for example. It's so nice. I love that kind of graphics still today. It's probably one of my favorite kind of graphics. Although I like a good-looking game, of course, it doesn't. So there you go. This is my gaming history, and I got quite a few games for all these systems. But as I told you, for me, it wasn't easy having like buying games, because I have to beg my parents back then, since I didn't have money, especially when I was a kid. Like for the NES and Super Nintendo, with the PlayStation, things started to change. I managed to have more games. Sometimes I could buy by myself, starting making my own money. But yes, with the Wii, I stopped actually buying new consoles, and like the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the 3DS, the Wii U. I'm probably not gonna buy both of them, since, especially the Wii U, since I don't really want now new consoles. But the reason is mainly like lacking of time, lacking of money. So I don't have all that money that I can spend on video games. So also because I have like a movie collection to manage to just like I have to buy new DVDs, TV series, um, mangas, all those kind of stuff, because it requires money. So I can spend everything on video games. Although I love video games, oh, I love so much. Um, what else? What else can I say? Oh, let's talk about how it all started. Because yes, I told, like I say to you that it all started with the NES, but how actually um, did I manage to have the Nintendo Entertainment System? It's quite interesting to say, because I was, as I told you, like 3 or 4 or something like that. I was really young, and it was my brother's birthday actually, and he has never been interested in gaming. He actually ate video games, and he hates video games, and that kills me. But I remember that he is a little older than me, like 3 years more than me, and it was 6 or 7, something like that. And he received the Nintendo for his birthday, and I remember like that same evening, it was like this with the Nintendo in his hand. He said, "Okay, now I really don't care about this thing. I really don't want it. I don't like video games." And I remember that he looked at me. I was like, "You got a Nintendo?" And said, "Do you want it?" I was like, "I can't believe it. You offer me a Nintendo, an NES, actually, an actual NES." Because back then I played like mainly the first like video games I played was really crappy old games on PC, and you can imagine how PC were like in 88, 89, not that good. So he actually gave me like this, the NES. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Wow, you're the best brother ever." And I still remember the first game that I played. Like, he received the NES with one game. It wasn't Mario. It wasn't Zelda. It was Mega Man 2. I still remember that. My first NES game was Mega Man 2. It's so amazing. I love that game. It's probably it's difficult to say. It's one of my, let's say it like this. It's one of my favorite NES games, because saying it's the best, I really don't know. I mean, Legend of Zelda and others are really good. Castlevania, but Mega Man 2 was amazing, by far my favorite of the entire franchise. And that's it. How all started with the NES, Mega Man 2. Later, I bought like Mario, of course, The Legend of Zelda, my first 3 games, Mega Man 2, Mario, and Zelda. Then I played like games like Mario 2, Mario 3, of course. I remember that one of my earliest games was DuckTales. I really loved the show. It's one of my favorite Disney show when I was a child, and I really wanted the video game, the first one. Excuse me. Like I finished the second one, but a friend of mine had it, not me. Um, thinking other games on the Nintendo also have some bad games. Still remember a game that I really liked it but never finished because it was difficult as hell was the Battle of Olympus, a sort of clone of Zelda 2. And ooh, sorry, as I told you, sometimes I have problems with light. But yes, Mega Man 3, of course, I love that game. I've almost finished almost all my NES game. I finished them, not all of them. Yes, I admit it. I admit it. I never finished Legend of Zelda. I know it's like, what the hell? It's super embarrassing, but it's not an easy game. It's like I finished all the dungeons. I just have to go. I know how it ends, what I have to do, but like I know that there is a second part. I just like in half of the game probably. I finish all the 8 dungeons. I have to go to the second world or whatever and fight Ganon. That I mean, I play a lot, so but I haven't finished it yet, and that's also a problem with me and gaming right now because, as I probably told you at the beginning of the video, like almost everything of my gaming collection, like the consoles, the games is everything is in Italy. Now here in London, I just have my DS and Game Boy Advance. That's it. So I can play only my DS and Game Boy Advance games. It's enough, yes, but all my favorite games I've done in Italy. The Super Nintendo especially, it's my favorite console of all time. PlayStation, the Wii, uh, the Xbox, the NES. All these consoles from now are off limits, and until like Christmas, and maybe another part of the year, like in summer when I usually go back for at least 2 weeks at home. And that is the only times that I can actually play all my games. That's awesome. Just playing all days is really incredible. This gaming session of hours and hours, like it's really nostalgic. It's when I was little, like playing for 5 hours a game. I don't know, playing Grandia for 5 hours, or A Link to the Past again, or Super Double Dragon, or Killer Instinct, or I don't know, Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox, or Mega Man 3 on the NES. All these great games. That's for me the only moment you can really play games, especially older games. And because right now I'm just playing, as I told you, my DS and the Game Boy Advance. For example, Game Boy Advance now I'm playing between Breath of Fire 2 and Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Like, really nostalgic factor. Like I played back then, actually. I managed to own Final Fantasy 1 because that's another interesting part about me, I think, since I'm Italian, I'm European, and I'm a European gamer, and that's different because almost every YouTube channel I usually follow, like as I told you, Dustin Craze, Epic Console Gamer, and others, they are North Americans. So the things, especially back then, were different between North America and Europe. Like many games, especially as I told you, for the NES and SNES era, were not released in Europe. So that's big. That's a big thing. Also because there are some games that I haven't played because they were not released in Europe, and back then, of course, there was no such thing as internet. So there's nothing you can do. You were screwed. Like I don't know. The first games that popped in my mind, it's like, and I'm really embarrassed to say this, it's Earthbound. I never played Earthbound because it was never released in Europe. But now I can thankfully there is something called Amazon or eBay, and you can buy games. It's amazing. The greatest invention of mankind, Amazon or eBay. But it's interesting. I think I can give you a different perspective about gaming. Not really about movies. That's a different kind of stuff. But especially with gaming, I can give you like a European point of view. Sorry, still have some coffee. Yeah, because like last week I have the cold and everything, and still I keep coughing right now. Although I'm really fine now. So yes, the thing about Europe and gaming, it's interesting because the games are always released in Japan, then in North America, and if we were lucky, we can sell those games here in Europe. And it's interesting, but it was also a problem. That's why I missed so many games back then. And since there was no internet, um, the only thing you can do, especially from the 90s. Still, in the 80s and the early 90s, there were no, or at least I didn't know any game magazines, for example, and that was the only way you can like learn about new games and stuff. I really started by game magazines when the PlayStation was out. So PlayStation Magazine was my first one. Also, sometime bought something for the PC, but I never really was, and still am not a PC gamer. I always prefer consoles, as you can see, since lots of consoles. And that's about it, I believe. I just uh, just did a little introduction about myself and my gaming history, and I really want to do some videos about games review, um, maybe about movies or TV series, or some of my impressions about games or older games, new games. Maybe we'll see. Since there's the problem, since I don't own PS3, Xbox 360, not buying a Wii U, I'm not really into newer games, but still can talk about it and comment and stuff like that. I think there is something else I can say, but for just being an introduction video, I think we cover enough for now. So we're probably back with new videos about something else. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you subscribe and watch my future videos. And still, thanks for watching, guys, and take care.